Hello, and welcome to the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021. We're at Game 3 of the semi-final in Gold Bracket, featuring MrAaronSnerd and Couch23. Our restreamer for today is vextopher. We have GolferBolts on tracking, and I'm KapiteinKOEK, probably going with Captain today, and I'm joined with the lovely Josh Bittner. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today? It's going to be a lovely game 3 over here. I'm pretty excited to see who will come out on top and advance to the finals of the gold bracket.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And although I didn't catch the first two games, I heard that you did. So tell me about the first two seeds. What catched your eye?
Yeah, well, I didn't totally catch much of the first game, but Couch 23 came out on top with a very narrow victory of just under 30 seconds. So that came down to just pretty much equal execution. And then yesterday was game 2, and my goodness, if you were not there, you may want to watch the VOD for that one because, wow, that ended up being pretty ridiculous. It was quite funny at our runner's expense. They completely forgot to check Catfish, which had a required hook shot. And at the same time, at about, call it about the hour and a half mark, they both ran out of checks and were on the flute screen trying to figure out what to do. But then eventually Aaron figured it out first and got his hook and then won the game.
That sounds pretty funny. I think I should really rewatch that one. And for today, it's game 3, so it's on. And I think it's interesting because we have, on one hand, we have Couch23. I believe he was the only one with a perfect record coming from the Swiss round. And MrAaronSnerd, I think he went 5-1. And if I recall correctly, he played against Couch23 and lost that match. So it's an interesting bit of a grudge match as well.
Yeah, I mean, both of those, the first race in this series and that Swiss week, I do remember being it turned out being a slight execution-based win for Couch. Although Aaron is a fantastic runner as well. He could out-execute Couch this time too. You never know. This is one game for all the marbles. You know, win or go home. It's now we've both had our runners have a pretty much normal seed with a little bit of execution, and then we had a mental toughness test yesterday. So who knows what we're gonna get? And the race looks like it has begun.
Yes, and we see Couch23 starting at Sank, only finding a map. So there's plenty of items left in the castle.
It
Let's see
looks
when
like
Aaron
Aaron is lagging out a bit, but I think he mentioned that in the pre-race chat that he'll be online soon, so we'll be able to see what he's up to. He usually does an uncle start, so we'll see.
Yes, and for the viewers, this is still open mode and randomized swords, so they don't have a sword right from the get-go. They can, as you can see, just start at Sank. They don't have to do the escape sequence right away, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it anyway.
Let's see if we can. I think Aaron said there was a hiccup, but I wonder if I can check on Aaron's stream directly so we can. Oh, there it goes. So we have a minute of overlap. So I think. Oh, and then there's a heart piece at Link's house. We had our first map check. Wow, that was quick.
That's really
I
quick.
saw it on Tower Hair was a crystal though. That's what I caught.
All right, we do see divergence because we see, as you said, MrAaronSnerd going to castle first.
Let's see here. Oh boy. Okay, Aaron is fast forwarding a bit. Still an hour behind. Now he's at Uncle. So just 10 arrows. So that's probably. Is he gonna save and quit here? Is he gonna do another pull from the? No, he has to. Oh, he went to the Uncle first.
Yes, and I believe Eastern Palace is a crystal as well, a regular crystal.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's on desert. It looked red, but it could also be the pendant.
All right, there's the map at Sanctuary. So, barring a key, Dark Cross may be something that Aaron will have to keep in mind doing. It looks like this might be the part where Aaron is going to catch up to Couch, and then we'll have our runners in sync from here.
MrAaronSnerd, doing most of the checks that Couch 23 did as well, decided to skip on the Lumberjack ledge check, which was only blueberries, so not much, but he is winning a little bit of time with that.
Okay, looks like we're back in sync. Aaron's going to pick up those bombs, and wow, there's a pearl at the drop down. Very nice.
It's very nice to have that early. You need it to access Dark World, and there are a couple of seeds where you have to do, for instance, have to do Aga because you haven't found Moon Pearl anywhere, and then it's just chilling on something like the Pyramid Ledge. So having that early is great because it just ticks off one of the checks you need for Dark World real access.
Yeah, and it feels so bad when you when you do an Aga that ended up being bait and you wasted 5 minutes, and then that's on your mind for the rest of the seed. As our runners hit up Kakariko Village, we're going to be running to Blind's Hut first. Ooh, we have the Quake Medallion, a hammer, shovel, and the bombos. Wow, absolutely loaded.
That is great news for the runners. Yeah, at least to have the hammer, and probably one or both medallions will be in play later. We also find the shovel, which is always interesting because that's one of the fetch quests. And I wonder if they will continue after the CAC checks and go to do shovel right away.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, would you do the same here? You would skip the save and quit and just run straight to the shovel from race game?
Yeah, that's what I always do, but I like to be very thorough with my seeds. So if there is a check I can do and it's not too far away, I'd probably go and do it.
Wow, and the hook shot. This is an absolutely loaded... And the mirror! This Kakariko Village is loaded. I mean, what more can you ask for, Boots?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they need the gloves, actually. We haven't seen one of those. Oh, flippers on the merchant. Finally having something useful.
Incredible. This seed's going to be wide open if it keeps going like this so soon. We could see some real divergences coming up very shortly if that continues to hold up. And our first sword at the Chicken Hut.
Yep. That is also great news for the runners, but it's, as you said...
Our racers are going to make their way through the rest of Kakariko and eventually kind of continue to what I would call a pretty standard start and a Master Sword. At the
runners are really getting almost everything they would want. And it's interesting to see that MrAaronSnerd only found
a lamp away from Aga being in logic. Very fascinating. Aaron is farming for a bomb at first.
I don't think he has the rupees to buy the bombs right away.
There, he gets his bomb drop, so now he's gonna... Oh, he's only doing the one, so...
Yeah, he didn't have the bumper chicken nut. I did see that he only had one sword from the back of the cafe, so I figured he didn't check the chicken nut yet. And now he gets his Master Sword as well.
And the flute on race game. I think that was the flute, if I saw that right. Yeah, the runner. We have Couch going in there. He wants that flute. So Aaron might be a little bit sad when he sees that with no boots. He's gonna have to go back and get yet another bomb.
I'm afraid he has to do that. Meanwhile, Ken in the chat pointing out, that's true, Aaron missed his first bomb attempt on the Chicken Hut, and then he didn't have any bombs to continue.
Yeah, that is certainly unfortunate. And now we see Couch running straight to the shovel, no save and quit, or did he forget to activate his flute? Oh wait, no,
Yeah,
he didn't activate his flute. He just got it. What am I talking about?
yeah, he just got it. It's going to be interesting to see what MrAaronSnerd's going to do right now. He's saved and quit to his own house, and it looks like he's going to do a couple of South Shore checks.
It looks like he's running straight to the dam, and then, I mean, he still doesn't have any bombs to open up Mini Moldorm Cave, so this is a little interesting. But, oh, the stun drop is bombs, so looks like he's bailed out there.
Yeah, that's good information to have. And you should be able to do a lot of checks in South Shore, and maybe he just thought, you know what, I'll just go do the other checks. Flute doesn't help me with this, so I can just do them right away.
Yeah, meanwhile, Couch goes up to the mountain in the dark, and he's going to do the big sequence break, tons of items, while Aaron sees half magic at the dam.
That is also really good to have early. He's going over to Mini Moldorm Cave. Not going to do a Gina. I understand that. Way more checks he can do, but he cannot miss the next bomb attempt.
Yeah,
never mind, he found one.
There he goes. Yeah, well, he could also stun more enemies and farm more bombs, so that's a very convenient thing. We're now going to see what the old man has. $100. As Aaron will finish off the Moldorm here and see what he gets over here. So we have some major divergences early. It's really hard to say who might have an advantage because, you know, now Couch's sequence broke the mountain.
Yeah, he did. Well, he didn't sequence break the mountain, and there's the mitts for MrAaronSnerd. First mitts, so he has Dark World access. But the sequence break was only on Uncle because he has the flute, so Couch could go to the mountain. But because he has the flute, he decided to go there and not do the checks that MrAaronSnerd is doing right now. That could be interesting.
Oh, that's true. So I guess he just wanted to rescue the old man just to get the item being thorough, huh?
Yeah, probably wants to get the warp. He's getting the 300 rupees, so I'm guessing he wants to do the checks after this and just get Zora to give him an item right away.
Yeah, I mean, that gets him within striking distance of Zora. Money there, you know. We will see what the life lesson is today. We don't know what... We will see what we get here. Paradox will be next on Couch's mind. So that'll be very fascinating to see what he eventually gets to. After, of course, checking Spec Rock. While you're here, you might as well go up left and then drop down and then go to East Death Mountain. That is something I learned through this tournament.
Yeah, it's good to have... Oh, actually, he's going to Dark World first. Maybe do a map check. See if we're fast enough to check.
I think he's going straight to... Oh, no, he'll be going straight to Hera. To get that crystal.
So.
That's open.
He doesn't have a fire source, so if there is something in basement, he will have to leave it behind. Then again, we don't know what he will find just yet.
$50, so it looks like now he can easily do Zora after this. I believe we're gonna see the new tech from Philistia. Maybe we'll see the Philistia Harapot. No, he's gonna go straight up the vanilla way.
And we see a book in the waterfall cave, which is pretty interesting.
I will be right back. I'm hearing knocking at my door, and my dog just went crazy. 1 second.
No problem. So we do have a big divergence right now. MrAaronSnerd doesn't have the cash to pay up Zora money, and Couch is just trying to really go mode this dungeon. Actually, not entirely go mode. Obviously, he's going to check these chests. He finds the key. There's still one item left in Hera to find. Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd is...
Yeah, he's going to go to the back of Escape.
Yep.
It's very fascinating seeing this early divergence and seeing how this might pay off.
That's the ice rod.
We like ice rods.
And the key being over there means that there is an item in Dark Cross, because we already found the map. Decided not to do that right now. Maybe he wants to do that while doing the front later on.
Yes, so now Aaron is heading back south. He's going straight to Hype Cave.
And this is our first Dark World, no, second Dark World actually, because Couch used the Dark World to get to Hera. But maybe we'll get a map check.
We'll see if Aaron remembers to do that. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Trash, Turtle Rock, Pod, and Ice Palace.
And we have a red crystal on Thieves Town.
So Aaron's going to probably be very interested in getting over to Thieves Town soon. And let's see what Hype has. So far, 50 bucks, 10 arrows, a piece of heart, and 10 more arrows. -4 out of 10 Hype.
Yeah, that's pretty much the opposite of Hype. Meanwhile, Couch23 did collect his first crystal. Had to leave behind the second item in Hera, if I counted correctly, because he found a compass on the boss. So maybe it will have consequences later on, but we don't know. We have a lot of items already, so it's probably nothing. I don't want to commentate or curse, but...
No worries. Meanwhile, in chat, I'm noticing Vex saying smart routing by Aaron, because he's running the south loop, and he will eventually just mirror over and do race game.
Yep.
He's shovel now, and eventually, yeah, look at that flute. Really tidy piece of business here, while we see Couch continue his East Death Mountain and go raid the chest in Spiral Cave.
Yes, and on Stumpy, I saw bow and arrow. So that means that MrAaronSnerd has one extra item, a progressive item, on top of what he already has with, at least with the gloves. So that's good.
Yeah, this is a pretty smart call by Aaron here. Meanwhile, we're going, we had, Couch went into the wrong cave. The right cave is the one you want to do.
It's easy to mess up because it's the right cave in Light World, left cave in Dark World. So it's understandable.
Paradox with a bottle and tempered sword. This seed is just giving items out for free early on. My goodness.
It's really interesting to see because they both have a bottle right now. MrAaronSnerd, I think he found it in Hype Cave, so that's the only useful item he found over there. And he is in the vicinity of KOEK, so he can check that real quick.
And boots in Paradox Cave. Oh baby, here we go. We got the zoomies for Couch.
That's a great find for him. I do wonder, like all of the checks, just like you said before, it means that our runners have a lot to do, and it's going to be tough making every decision you want to make.
For sure. With the seeds so open like this, there's so many areas to go. I mean, Aaron is completely correct, in getting the race game with this flute and then going to Thieves Town to collect that, because that's fully clearable. And then he may also dip the front of Skull Woods while he's over there too. So it might be some time before he heads up the mountain for the first time.
And because of the location of the boots being at Eastern Death Mountain, that may hurt him in the long run, because everything's faster with boots.
Yep, now we're seeing Couch gonna go raid Mini Moldorm Cave.
He will find his gloves, so that's good progression for him.
Oh, he's got to be careful now.
Oh yeah, he only has one heart, you're right.
But succeeding. No oopsie whoopsie falls or getting hugged by the Moldorm. And he will collect his loot.
And now I wonder if MrAaronSnerd remembers to check Sick Kid, because I don't think he went there yet.
I do not believe so. Meanwhile, we're going to see Couch run to the ice rod cave. We'll see what's hanging out over there. And Aaron is going to the mountain.
That may be good news for him, because if he retraces...
Oh. Couch takes an unfortunate death of those annoying crabs. When you're on
very
2 more and
unfortunate.
have 4 hearts, ouchie.
But as I was saying, for MrAaronSnerd, this may be a good play, because if he decides to commit to the right side as well, and I see no reason why he would not do that, he will find his boots, so he will not be as far behind on finding that really good item compared to Couch.
Yeah, so far it looks like Aaron's route is paying off a little better in the long run, as we see Couch retracing Aaron's steps. I believe now Couch can probably just go to the front of Escape 2, since he's in this area. I'm just kind of thinking about how I would play this sort of seed, where if you're in an area, it's best to collect things and not have to double dip things unnecessarily.
We saw Uncle from MrAaronSnerd, but he didn't have any weapons, so he couldn't complete it. So this is the first time we see the rest of the front of Escape from Couch 23. And remember, we do know that there is an item in Dark Rose. I don't believe Couch checked the back of Escape though.
No, he has not. So he might be interested in a Death Warp here or no, he has the mirror, I'm sorry. So he'll probably just mirror to the front and then just go all the way to the back. And we'll see what he does from there, as Aaron's going to retrace the steps. He's going straight to Paradox before going to fight our good old Troll Dorm. So he's going to get his boots a little sooner than Couch did, because as Couch did the Hera before getting the boots.
It's also interesting to see, because I think that Couch did farm a couple of rupees so he could do the checks on Zora, I presume, but he hasn't visited the area yet.
No, I mean, I think there's still other things that are relevant to his interests. As Aaron gets his boots now, he's going to be stoked for that. There's too many other things to do, because now Couch can start thinking about going to the West Dark World. So maybe it's really hard. This becomes like when a seed's so open like this, you start kind of prioritizing checks. You know, when you have item density plays to make, you got to figure out what you want to do in what order, and then, well, let the rando gods reward or punish you.
Yeah, it's all about the choices you make. The reason I brought it up is because he did commit a bit of time and effort to get to at least 500 rupees. But I guess he decided now's not the time. He has the money if he needs to, and he can always go back to that place later on if he absolutely has to check Zora.
Absolutely. What I've learned throughout this tournament... Oh, we're going to get a book check, by the way. One thing that I learned from Gamachu in week 6 when he mentored me, and just a piece of heart on the tablet there, was to always try to follow the logic. So when things are opened, it's better to follow new things that open up versus things that have been hanging out open for a while. It's could be wrong sometimes, but it's generally played to my benefit.
It does depend on what you prefer. I also think, for instance, at least we know on MrAaronSnerd's side that Thieves Down is a pendant. Obviously, Couch doesn't know. I don't think he did a map check in Dark World. But those are checks. You know that there are plenty of rooms to check, plenty of crystal dungeons as well. And a different rule of thumb I heard was always be clearing dungeons. And if you have crystal dungeons to clear, it's probably a good idea.
And there we have Aaron doing the Philistia Harapot method here. He doesn't want to do the vanilla way. He's not getting the lineup quite right. And we seem to have a hiccup on Aaron's side here. We'll see if we can get that back. And at this time, also just want to say thanks, SMirkJD, for the raid. Welcome, raiders, to the show.
Yeah, currently we have Vision of Couch 23. He checked Hobo. I don't think MrAaronSnerd checked that one, but it's just a piece of heart, so it's no biggie.
Looks like we've lost Aaron's stream for a second here. Let me see if we can call this up. As Trinex says in chat, rage quit from missing Harapot. Checks out. Swish.
It looks like Couch is doing the flipper checks, so he will get his book right about now, and he is able to check what's on Zora this time.
Yes, indeed. Let's see if we can. Yeah, to MrAaronSnerd, it looks like we have a slight technical issue. We're going to be working on getting MrAaronSnerd's stream back. It seems like we had a slight glitch here, so we will be checking in here.
Meanwhile, Couch has to be a bit careful because he only has half a heart, but he made it to Zora. That is all he wanted to do right now. Just some love.
So let's see what Couch does next. Starting from Sank and zoom in. Okay, I have Aaron called up on another stream. He's going into Lost Woods, and it appears that he is headed to the Dark World.
That makes sense. Like I said, he knows that there is a 5/6 crystal on Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Couch doing the back of escape checks, finding the ice rod, saving quitting out.
Fortunately, we won't necessarily need that ice rod for the whole seed unless there happens to be an item on Trinex, which would be truly cursed material for you if that ends up happening.
It looks like we currently see a bit of a mirrored stream.
Yeah, it looks
think
like a little flipped around. So on the right side is actually Aaron, and the left side is now Couch. So pardon our difficulties at the moment. We'll get that sorted out. But we can see what each of the runners are doing. Aaron went to the middle and got the big key at Skull Woods, while Couch is getting his money back from his Zora play. And we will see what he does next now.
So it looks like heading off the pod. I don't think he checked Stumpy yet. So
Meanwhile, we're getting a We're getting a
yeah.
ped check on Aaron's side. And it's just Couch Cash.
Okay, so Ped is dead. This seed. That's good to know.
Sorry, chat. No ped memes today. So we're gonna get our first pod look. Did Couch has a bow, yeah?
I don't think he picked it up. I don't think he went to the Dark World and did Stumpy. So
Ooh, so this is gonna be an interesting play. He can potion glitch, but eventually this was supposed to be a clearable dungeon, but is not for Couch.
Thankfully for Couch, it's quote unquote just a pendant dungeon. But I know some people who claim that there is always a reason to go to pod, especially if it's pendant pod.
Yeah, hi Lumaga. Lumaga. It's pendant pod is always the answer until it's not. Okay, we have Aaron's stream back. So we are back in business. And we just saw him check peds, so the what I was watching Aaron directly, it's about a minute ahead, so we're good to go. As Couch is going to open the right side, and I guess that means well, I mean, it's muscle memory for me to just bomb that wall, but he'll have to potion glitch if he wants to get those 2 chests.
Yeah, he only found keys so far, which is not surprising because there are a lot of keys in Palace of Darkness.
A minimum of 4, if I remember correctly, from Pod Logic. I know Pod Logic is some calculus that can be very difficult to remember. But Couch was probably happy to see that big key. It makes doing either the hammer yump or at least going clearing the full back much more palatable, because you can at least get the big chest over there too now.
Yeah, we also haven't seen the lantern yet. So if he wants to do the checks that are near the big key, he will need to do it in the dark. Thankfully, in the mentor tournament, I think we all had a lot of practice on dark rooms, so I think he will be fine. But he only has a maximum of 6 hearts, just a blue mail. So green mail. So it could be tricky.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spooky dungeon to do because there's a lot of enemies that will do tons of damage to you here. As he finds a small key in the dark, and we're seeing Aaron go into Village of Outcasts. So just a piece of heart, but a refill for Couch, as he's going to now exit this dark part of the basement and continue on in the back.
That is actually a nice find. Meanwhile, speaking of nice finds, we see a mushroom over at MrAaronSnerd. That's another fetch quest he can do later on, but having the flute in hand, it's not too bad of a check to do.
Yeah, so Divergence is the name of the game for this seed. We're going to have to see who is going to wind up ahead, as we're going to see Couch attempt a hammer yump. That lineup looked pretty good. No, he's working on it.
So there's someone in the chat, Cassidy Moan, asking if Couch did the hype cave or straight over to pod. I believe he went straight over to pod because he flew to 5 and then he went to go to this dungeon. So I don't think he has done hype cave.
And we know that he shouldn't, but he probably will, since hype cave was established to be negative 14 out of 10 hype.
Yeah, the only redeeming quality, if you want to call it that, is I think 1 bottle. And that's about it. The rest was just not hype worthy in the least.
And we're seeing Aaron clear out the front of Thieves Town now, as he's going to zip around there. And we're going to see... Ooh, Couch is going to go into Eastern now. Still bolus. So this bit of routing might come back to punish him a bit because of not having gone to Stumpy yet, or check out the West Dark World. But maybe he'll be bailed out by a bow. We don't know.
There is our first item, piece of heart. So still a lot to check in Eastern. Meanwhile, we see MrAaronSnerd having some issues with the spikes and enemies over here. But he should be fine right about now. Yeah.
But he's through. Sometimes if I have the hook shot, I'll try to hook shot those statues just to get forward progress while avoiding the Patrick stars. But on Tempered too, I mean, you can also just kill them too.
It's one thing I usually forget about because I'm often in a state where I'm not able to kill those in one hit. So I just try to avoid them, but RNG sometimes has to be on your side a bit in rooms like that.
Yeah, it can be very challenging to get through some of these rooms in an efficient manager. I do know that Aaron is a proponent of playing NMG, and if you want to get better at rooms, he keeps telling me to play NMG. I have not played NMG, but maybe someday I will.
Meanwhile, Couch finding the map, and he found a compass earlier, so we know there is an item on Armos Knights, and there is an item in the actually now it's still not in logic, but it's in the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, we're gonna see what he gets here. He should have no problem getting through. This is one of the first dark rooms pretty much any runner will learn. It's one of the easiest, as you just have to walk through a box in a circle. And then there's the one room where you just have to walk a little and right to get the key out of the pot. And then you're on your way, just like couches.
Finding a piece of heart has to go away because he doesn't have a bow yet.
The play does not pan out. It seems like you're hard required to go get that bow. As we watch Aaron now go fight blind.
I think this is the first check we have of Saha Closet.
Oh, interesting. Well, he didn't have much besides eventually increasing your life, but nothing doing there. So Couch is going to need to go to that Western Dark World ASAP to go collect his bow.
I believe he is going towards what I expect to be a hype cave play. I wonder if he will go to the left after that, or maybe does something like the pyramid check, because we also hadn't... No, actually, he is going down right now.
So this was always in logic right after KAPiteinKOEK, so you could have done this very early. So this is yet another interesting place to check out. Gotta think that Aaron will be thinking about doing Swamp soon too. Given that he doesn't have the Fire Rod to defeat Mothula at this point. But it looks like he's going to go check out the North Dark World, and probably a route that Aaron likes to do is kind of do a big sweep of the North Dark World right now. He's going to check out the bumper ledge to see if there's anything there, just a heart. Then he'll probably look at Graveyard Ledge, and he can do King's Tomb, and then he'll swim to Catfish, our favorite spot from yesterday, by the way, and then make his way probably down to Pod after doing Zora and stuff.
Yeah, I do wonder if that's still somewhere stuck in their minds, like, oh, remember yesterday? It's probably best not to let yourself get swayed by something that happened in a different seed, but I've noticed in some of my seeds, if I got burned on one check, one item, I tend to, if it's sort of close, I do try and route it in, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been some times where it's one thing happens to you one time and it scars you for life as a never again. For me, I got in a bit of trouble in my quarterfinal match because I had one time where I had gotten boots but forgot Bonk Rocks the entire time until I last locationed it. When Bonk Rocks is pretty much the next save and quit you should do after getting boots.
Yeah, checks like that, it's easy to forget. If, for instance, if I do a casual boots, it's the first thing I do. But if I'm in an open race like these gentlemen are doing right now, you maybe not think about it. So we found a progressive shield in both King's Tomb and the Compass chest in Swamp almost at the same time.
It's pretty rad, and that will let they might both end up with the big old tower shield. So we will see how that goes. Aaron is running to Catfish while we deal with the front of Swamp for Couch. Couch really does have to watch his health, as Cassidy Mona is saying in chat. Really critical. He does, as he's mentioned that someone mentioned in chat he's on blue mail. That's kind of hard to tell with his sprite if he's on blue or green, but if he's on green, he's dangerously low.
I'm not sure if he found that blue mail either. I do see that MrAaronSnerd had to play to do one of the fetch quests. It was on the way, just a piece of heart behind the mushroom. but at least he got that checked out.
Yeah, that's a solid piece of routing, just to add as much as you can do while you're in an area. The name of the game to go faster, of course, is to stop double dipping things. That's pretty low on our pyramid of getting good. You know, first is stop stopping, stop dying, and then stop double dipping, I believe, is the progression of that pyramid.
So we get the catfish check, and it's just a 20.
It's usually nothing, but when it's not nothing, oh baby, like yesterday, you know, it can make you look like a fool.
Yeah,
Usually with my casual boots brainworms, I always forget about Dark Cross, because my mind tends to check that off as, well, you did that as your fake warm-up by doing escape.
MrAaronSnerd getting his Zora check out of the way, and meanwhile, we see the Butter Sword over at Couch. Wow.
Well, when you have the Butter Sword this early, it's pretty nice because you can murderize basically everything in short order, including bosses. So the sooner you get gold, the better. If there's like a late sword and you already have tempered, you know, sometimes it may not even be worth picking up that gold sword. Like, say if it's on, I don't know, like like the floating island, when you would have to go through the entire puzzle to get over to it. That can take more time on its own just to get the sword versus the time you would save on the final phase of Ganon. But when you have a whole bunch of bosses to kill, yeah, it's nice to have that gold sword early.
We get chat confirmation that Blue Mill was indeed in Palace of Darkness. That's at least a nice pickup, but as we said earlier, it's too bad for Couch that he did not find the bow, which is located on Stumpy.
You would have to think that he's about to go get that stuff because he's in the area at Swamp. Yeah. And then we have Aaron picking up his piece of heart from the camper. Oh, and the last medallion is found over in the back of Swamp, and now Couch is gonna go back, I believe, to go open the big key.
And he doesn't want to go back to Swamp. He just wants to get big key, get the last couple of chests just to compass. That feels bad. At least he knows that it's nothing, and he can leave this place behind for good after he kills our last enemy in this dungeon, which of course is Argus.
Indeed. Now Aaron just checked the pyramid for 3 bombs, and if I was to guess correctly, he'll be probably interested in going to Pod now. He can fully clear that, and then fully clear Eastern, so this bit of routing is starting to really come together for Aaron here.
It looks like that's his plan. Maybe he'll do a quick stop at Sarhasla before heading over to Pod.
We'll see what he ends up doing, because yeah, Pod, as chat is pointing out, you know, Pod is empty, I believe. So that could get some time clawed back for Couch.
The only thing I don't know is if there is an item left on the boss in Helmasar.
Yeah, I wasn't counting cleanly. I'm not sure also if Couch completed the on the back of the pod maze. I saw him get the top item in the dark, but I don't remember if he got the bottom item.
I believe he did. I at least saw him go down, and he was still a bit healthy, so I think he did all of the checks. I do know that there is an item left on Armos Knights, which is an Eastern Palace. Obviously, also one of the bosses, you need the bow for to reach the specific area where the boss is located.
And we just saw Couch get his next crystal. He is zooming up, and probably, I believe he's done hype already, so he's gonna probably book it to, yeah, he's getting the mirror out. Oh, so he hasn't done hype yet. So he'll get his disappointment, and then probably go to the west to get that bow off Stumpy and feel kind of bad.
Yeah, I feel like that's his best play right now. As he said, He's in the area. Maybe the only other thing he could do is check Bombo's tablet, because I don't think we've seen that yet. Other than that, not much for him to do, or he decides to go to the pyramid and do the catfish check right now.
And he goes towards the Stumpy direction, so he is going to get that bow.
Good news for Couch. Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd finding the big key for Pod.
So an interesting thing some runners do at this point, when they have the big key early, they may just go and fight Helma immediately and then clear the back. So that could be a thing that Aaron may do now. I'm trying to remember if he subscribes to that particular train of thought.
I wonder what he will do. So far, he's just doing the regular checks. He has a bow, so he doesn't need any glitches. We see a Cape 45 check on Couch. I think we saw that. Yeah, there was just the 5 rupees.
And looks like no, Aaron is gonna go fight the rest of the dungeon before considering maybe going to go see Helmasaur. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it does help that the runners had early access to the mirror, because if you don't have the mirror, and especially if you don't have the lanterns, it's a long way back. And if you do not get a death warp early, it can take a long time before you're back to the entrance of Pod.
Oh, I'm actually not logged into my Twitch account. I was going to drop the, if someone wants to drop the exclamation point R, I believe it's, you can, as our runners kind of retrace each other's steps for a bit, give this stream a follow and also subscribe to the Go Mode podcast. This is who is putting on this tournament, are at lovely admins running this tournament for all of us. I was a participant in this tournament. It was a great learning experience for all of us. So definitely listen to that podcast. It's a great way to learn about the game from basically knowing nothing. I started from only having played the GBA port in 2003 up until, when I got into Rando a little while ago. And so it really starts you from nothing. You learn a lot. And our lovely hosts are really great people to listen to. So definitely give that podcast a follow. And yeah,
I agree. It's a great community. We all learned a lot. I think my first run, for instance, I was confronted with basically having a fighter sword for every fight, including Vitreous, which was the first time I think I faced Vitreous without something like a good bow or tempered sword or stuff like that. And it was a harsh lesson to learn, but it's a lesson learned, and every time you maybe fail at something, next time you do it better. And it's a really good feeling to have, and it's also, because of the community, really nice people. A lot of people were also able to mentor the runners, so that's good. That's very nice. And yeah, give our racers a follow as well, and also our tracker, doing a good job keeping track of everything. And I think we had the Helmasaur kill as well, so that's another dungeon finished for MrAaronSnerd.
Yeah, well, or at least he finished clearing it, and then now he's gonna go defeat Eastern Palace. I didn't quite catch that. We were kind of too busy plugging for the second, so apologies. Someone wants to drop back into the VOD and check, that would be fantastic. You can report back and win some cool internet points.
Now I'm doubting myself. I'm slightly doubting myself if Helmasaur was killed already, or if MrAaronSnerd decided to do Eastern before heading over to Helmasaur, maybe hoping to find a lamp. Because doing the hammer room in the dark without even a fire rod, it can be tricky.
Yeah, I mean, to do it completely in the dark, it would also just killing Helma in a bad pendant pod situation is probably one of the last things I'll ever do. At that point, I would just say Helmasaur does not exist.
You are absolutely right. I forgot for a second that we had Pendant Pod instead of Crystal Pod, so MrAaronSnerd doesn't need to go to Helmet if there is no item on him. And I believe that MrAaronSnerd is capable of doing those dark rooms, so my understanding right now is that there is no item on Helma.
Yeah, chat, we have pick 6 in the chat saying we found compass, but I don't know if we saw the map, so that could be what's chilling on Helmasaur, so it would be completely pointless to defeat Helmasaur aside from just killing everything in sight.
And even if there is an item on Helma, it's a tough call. You have to decide if you want to um, take your time and kill Helmasaur. Actually, when I was racing with one of our mentors, I did get the tip that it's kind of hard to go back to pod. Like if you need to kill Helmasaur for whatever item Helma is keeping, it can take a while before you actually get back to pod and then go to Helmasaur. So it can be tricky to wait for that last moment to go to Helma. And we ended up finding mitts on the pendant pod. So not checking that if there is an item in Helmasaur, it can backfire, but we'll see.
Meanwhile, Aaron, successfully doing the back of Eastern Darkroom, is now gonna go shoot up a whole bunch of Armos Knights, and we'll be able to get the crystal here. I don't believe, at least with our tracking, it shows that Couch has not done that. So that'll be a crystal in favor of Aaron there.
Yeah, Couch didn't do the Eastern boss because he didn't have the bow and arrow at that time.
Oh, correct. I completely spaced out on that because it was in a spot that was just hanging out for Couch but didn't have. Meanwhile, Aaron nicely does the quick kill, gets a little bit of an arrow refund, and will be on his way. Almost synchronous crystal pickups there with Thieves Town and Eastern.
That was a bit scary for Couch. He had one heart left when he delivered the final blow to Blind's head, but he survived, gets another crystal, so that's good for him. And as he said, MrAaronSnerd also finishing up a crystal dungeon. That always feels good.
Indeed, you want to be able to get through, don't die. Sometimes, I can best describe my execution on some boss kills as good enough. I could be doing them better, but most important thing, even if you lose a couple of seconds, is just get it done.
I wonder if we will see. I think MrAaronSnerd did not do Swamp Pellets yet.
No, he did not, so he is going to be going to collect that very shortly.
I also wonder when we will see Desert Palace play, because we know it's fully completable, but neither of our runners have decided to go to that area. So maybe MrAaronSnerd wants to route it in, doing Swamp
it's
Burst.
not completely. The front is available. You're fire locked from defeating the boss, though, because we don't have the lantern or the fire rod yet.
You're right. I don't think we saw what's on the ledge or on Agina, though, so there are a couple of checks they can still do.
Yeah, one thing that I have seen as a bit of a rear end covering at some point is like especially if you're like early on and you have the flute, I've seen it being beneficial just to flute to 6, check the ledge, and just do a Gina while you're there. Kind of can really save your bacon on the off chance that there is something at either of those locations and you may know about it.
That is one of the plays I always, almost immediately do. Whenever I find the flute to 6, just do those 2 checks. Very easy to do. And it is, as you said, I just don't want to get hurt because I decide to basically last location. It's a choice, but yeah, it's something I prefer to do just to get those 2 checks out of the way.
I do have a nasty habit of leaving behind Agina's cave, especially when there's no boots or flute even. Because it is a long walk just for one item, and then even longer if you loop in the check for the ledge as well.
Yeah, I agree. I usually don't care for Agina if I don't have either boots or flute. Flute is obviously better for the check, but sometimes I decide if I did the dam, sometimes I decide to just check the left. Because it's just a small thing, but if you go to the dam and then go to the right, and later you decide to basically do the same, but just go over to Agina's place. There we have the mirror shield from MrAaronSnerd. But if you go to the left afterwards, you have an extra screen transition. So try to save just a little bit of time by not doing that extra screen transition.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to do in those circumstances. Our runners are continuing to retrace each other's steps as Couch is now checking out the North Dark World to see what he can find here, as Aaron is going to clean up all of Swamp. So it's a matter soon where to go next. Aaron has not defeated Tower of Hera, so he could probably do that. But I think he's trying to maybe... Oh no, Aaron did do Tower of Hera.
We are getting a couple of desert checks. Interesting to see Couch deciding to go into desert. He could have also chosen to do Agina first. If Agina has a lantern or fire rod, then Desert Palace would be fully clearable. But it's a choice, and we will see what will, if he can reap the benefit.
And I don't think either runner has checked the tablet at Desert.
No, I believe we have seen the other 2 book chests, but not the Bombos tablet yet.
Yeah. I always struggle with remembering the name of the tablets that you're checking. I haven't played vanilla Link to the Past in a very, very, very long time.
I used to play the game all the time when I was a kid, but to be honest, I had to... the way I remember it is whenever I go and check the mountain one, I see a lot of flickering. It's a good thing that we have modes where you can switch off most of that flickering. But that's why I remembered, oh, that's the Ether tablet, so the other one must be the Bombos tablet.
Meanwhile, $20 on the right side of the dungeon here. It looks like Couch is gonna loop in, because I didn't see if he had. Oh no, he went in and out. Okay, he's probably gonna try to finish clearing the rest of the front, and we'll see what that shakes out for him.
Yeah, I think he did that so he can mirror afterwards and then drop down and go to Agina's cave right away.
So we're gonna see what the other item is here for Couch. This could be yet another disappointment, or this could really pay out huge for the risk. So far it is... Yep, I believe... Oh, he set up, interesting, a mirror play, so when he's thinking, hedging against being able to get that fire rod, so he's now going straight to Agina. Interesting. I dig that.
Yeah, I figured he'd do that because that's the fastest way of getting to Agina using the west exit, and he was there already because he had to do the checks with a small key door.
Yeah, that's a good bit of situational awareness, but just a heart at Agina, so desert is empty again, and team for Couch 23 is yet again going to a dungeon that he cannot clear and striking out at it. Meanwhile, Aaron is now taking out Argus in short order and should be done with that right now.
Interesting. So we see Couch heading over to the north, and I'm not sure what he wants to check over here. He hadn't done ether tablet check yet. We know it's just a piece of heart, but I wonder if maybe he wants to do the spike cave check as well, because I don't think he has anything else left to check on the mountain.
He doesn't, and technically it's sort of, I believe it's considered out of logic because he doesn't have an invincibility item. But will he have enough health and bottles to, he gets the fairy that he desperately needed to heal up, and he's gonna go for it.
Very gutsy play. Meanwhile, we see the first Bumbos check over at MrAaronSnerd's. And he
And
finds
it's an
the
invincibility item that he could have used. That Couch could have used, rather. So, there's a fairy in his pocket. That's right. So he's going to be able to get that heal up, and he'll have just enough while Aaron goes into the desert. So let's see what this progression train looks like. It's the fire rod. Wow.
Yeah, the second I saw the invincibility item over at MrAaronSnerd's, I thought, okay, this could mean there is progression, because we didn't have a lot of checks left. We don't have the mids and we don't have the Cane of Samaria, and not having those two items, it kind of restricts you in what you can do, because at least the last 3 major dungeons in the Dark World require you to have the mids.
Yeah, so now it's going to be a case of, when will Aaron remember to go check out Spike Cave now that he has the in-logic check to go do that? He would like to, he's going to finish out Desert and get disappointed, and as we're going to watch now, Couch go ruin Mothula's day, and then probably... Yeah, I mean, you can finish Desert too to get the crystal. I'm just trying to think what I would do in this situation, having just gotten the fire rod.
There are a couple of checks still left for Couch 23. He did not finish Eastern Palace yet. Of course, he has bow and arrow right now, so he could go back and do that. But I think it's a good play to check School Boots first. You just found a fire rod out of logic, and it's nice to just try and see what you will find behind fire rod logic checks.
Yeah, this is the big first couple of checks. So he's going to the bridge chest first before fighting Mothula.
Interesting choice.
See Aaron gonna... Usually I like to do this afterwards. But wow, it has the mitts. My goodness, a huge advantage for Couch right now.
That is great news for Couch. Finding that fire rod out of logic really pays off. Now, it is true that because MrAaronSnerd found the Cane of Burna, it might lead him to go to the mountain. Actually, he is on the mountain right now, so maybe he's not as behind as we think he is right now.
Yeah, that was a fortunate save by Aaron to remember that. Both he and I, in various ladder races, have had a nasty habit of forgetting to do Spike until very late. So, you know, it becomes, although in this case it's a matter of necessity, you're progression starved, as Couch gets $300 from his Mothula kill. But the real prize, of course, was getting those gold gloves.
Yeah, MrAaronSnerd had done a lot of checks before this, so he knows that he doesn't have to retrace those steps at least. So that's good news for him. He finds the fire rod, and I expect him to also follow in Couch's footsteps, going to Skullwoods. But let's see what he does.
Indeed. So that will be some of the time being clawed back for Aaron as Couch has to atone for his double dips. We're watching Couch go finish off Desert, and then I would have to assume that he would have to think about then doing... Oh, because it's gonna unlock the other red crystals so he could be able to check the pyramid. That's an interesting play. I dig it.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for him because if he had done Skullwoods beforehand, he could have done, maybe have done both Mire and Clean Up Desert Palace in one go. But
Well,
obviously, we know that that could have been the play. He doesn't know, so I understand his play.
I would push back on that because of not having the required red cane for Mire and it only being 2 chests. I would be pretty disincentivized to go into Mire at this state. Even if I had the gold gloves, I would probably be looking elsewhere first.
You have a point. I do think that, but that's just what I would do. I like to do the early as soon as I can again. As soon as I can check the Mire shed, I tend to check it because it often had something good for me. So that's a bit of a seed bias just for me.
Yeah, we all carry our scars from seeds past.
Also, let's not forget that we still have 1 check left over in Tower of Hera. Let's hope we never have to do that.
Yeah, that would be
not
pretty
fun for the
ruthless.
runners. Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna have 2 boss fights at once. We have Desert for Aaron and Armos for Couch. Couch is setting up that, oh, but he gets bonked, so he misses the quick kill. And will lose some time against Aaron, who did complete the quick kill. Not a whole lot of time, but time nonetheless.
Again, they're pretty synced with finding crystals. And both times we saw this, there were different crystals. It really speaks to the openness of this seed.
I would have to think, as Case Den is pointing out in chat, that Dark Death Mountain would be way more relevant to my interests at this point in time if I were Couch. Aside from, collecting your crystal. Seems like that what runners are interested in doing right now is just upping their crystal count. You got to do it, so you might as well do it now. Although he is going to go into the shed first. Let's see what we get.
I wanted to say, I guess Couch disagrees. I do understand. If you find the Cane of Samaria over here, or maybe on checkerboard, you can do 1 Death Mountain trip at the end, making sure you don't have to do an extra climb. It obviously has less density right now. I do think he will use this to clean up Desert Palace right after this.
Yeah. Let's see what's here. Just a piece of heart. Oh, my heart was almost skipping if there was the red cane just chilling on the doorstep so that you could basically, if you can do Mire in the dark, go mode the rest of this game.
What's also interesting is that they still haven't found the lantern. They don't need it, but yeah, I wonder if we will ever see that.
At this point, I would probably say no. I would probably speculate that it's a cursed, probably pendant TR. It's always in Mimic Cave, right?
Yeah, I would not be surprised. So it looks like they will again wrap up dungeons pretty close to each other. MrAaronSnerd and Skullwoods. Couch 23 still having to wait for a small cutscene before we can go to Lamoa.
Indeed, we're gonna get our kills in order here, and then hopefully Aaron will remember to check the bridge chest for that required he should know because he cleared the front already. So that bridge chest should be something he should get right now and be able to be on his way. And then, well, we'll see who gets to Dark Death Mountain first. That's gonna have 6 items just hanging out for you.
Yeah, and asking if Kane is go mode. Yeah, the Kane is go mode right now because they only really need to do Mire after this and then go up to the mountain. But as we already discussed, the chances of them going up the mountain before being able to clean Mire is pretty high.
So Aaron gets his glove. What will he do? He mirrors out and plays
So
the top
both
of the swag
runners.
duck people and is going to. Oh, I think he's turning in the big bomb. I think that's what they're both going to do.
I was just about to say their routing look pretty similar right now. We had such an open seed, but now both of the runners have 6 crystals down, if I'm not mistaken. And that means they only need the Cane for go mode, and I guess they're both a bit reluctant having to go to Death Mountain before being able to go to Gennis Tower.
Yeah, I mean, you could also. I mean, I would go to Dark Death Mountain first, but you have now, because of the green pendant, 4 items in Ice Palace, and because you have the Fire Rod and the Bombos tablet, you can go in there and full clear this whole dungeon. So it could be in there too, that Canis Maria.
Let's see these checks, and nope, no Kano Samaria today.
Looks like Couch is dashing, so where is he going? Oh, I guess he's gonna go check Catfish.
Yeah, he hadn't done that check. I think he hasn't done the mushroom check either. So basically, what's happening right now is MrAaronSnerd being the beneficiary of having done a couple of early checks.
Although now he's gonna be going probably to scope out the Meyer Shed and Checkerboard Cave. So they're both kind of retracing each other's steps again. So while they retrace their steps, once again, give our runners a follow. MrAaronSnerd and Couch23 just dropped the links in their chat. So give them a follow. They're great runners. Also, check out the podcast again. It's very important that we talk about our lovely hosting this great tournament. And give our crew a follow too. We got KapiteinKOEK, myself, and then Tracker is GolferBolts, and we got Vex on the restream. Thank you all for helping be behind the magic that makes this stream happen.
So we see Couch23 being the first one on the mountain, MrAaronSnerd following in his footsteps. I think he's behind about, like 25 seconds.
At this point, that sounds about right. It's really interesting how the divergences have all converged at this point, and they're now both zooming on the mountain.
Thank you for the subscription, Palmacut. It's really nice. Also, we see a comment from Boo This Man saying, worst place would be Magic Bat.
Oof. Especially when they both have turned in their mushroom already and can't fake powder.
Yeah, and if Magic Bat is somewhere obscure.
And just nothing too special at Super Bunny Cave here. We're going to be watching them zoom through. And then now we're going to be checking the last 4 items here.
I think they will head over into TR. We don't find anything in the
Well, they can't
cave
really
over
go very
Couch.
far.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's the only good thing, I guess. So maybe no. Okay, deciding not to do the last Hera check. At least I'm pretty certain that we have only seen one item on Hera.
So nothing doing at Dark Death Mountain. And Couch is filling up on some Mountain Dew High Voltage. We're not sponsored by Pepsi.
It looks like MrAaronSnerd is taking the dive, quite literally, and going over to Ice Palace. And Couch
like
23, it's like, I don't know, like 5 seconds behind it. Suddenly
It's
it became so close.
such a dead even. It's gonna, at this point, it's gonna come down to GT routing and execution from here on out. All that talk and wailing about someone's efficiency being better or the better route, it's all for nothing. We're all back at square one at an hour and 15 seconds.
See, the first check is just small key in the vanilla compass chest. Not much yet.
Not much yet, and no icebreaker today, so our runners are gonna have to see if they remember how to do the Ice Palace bomb jump. Because, well, I started racing after the icebreaker became legal, so I kind of put off learning the bomb jump for quite some time.
I had the exact same thing. In fact, I learned the Samaria strats for anything. Also, diver down way before I learned the stuff you should probably learn first. Because even though you don't always have the Cave of Samaria, you almost always have a bomb with you, so you can do a very nice execution of the Ice Palace bomb jump over at MrAaronSnerd's side.
Yep, we had a miss for Couch. I know Aaron took one fall. And it looks like Couch is struggling a little bit. A little bit of rust probably doing that. You gotta get that pixel perfect lineup.
There we go.
Jon Snow, I can hover it. Does it count? I guess it does. I don't really think anyone in the Mentor tournament knows how to hover. That's quite the thumb exercise, I know.
I actually looked it up the other day and I tried it, but I play on a keyboard and I don't think there is any way I can ever use a hover on a keyboard. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know, especially if you're on like a mechanical keyboard or something that doesn't have the fastest travel rate. To be able to get all those frame perfect key presses down. It may be a little bit outside the ability for the keyboard to do. Meanwhile, we're making our way through. So far, not a whole heck of a lot. We just got to go down south. We got the $5 rupee. I think that was the first item, because they both have a ton of keys. So I think they were only picking up keys earlier.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they had a second item. Catfish, I think, only had 20 rupees. So not a whole lot.
Yeah, only $20 catfish.
There's the game, finally.
There we go.
And Couch deciding not to check the big
Oh
chest.
dear. That could be... Well, he may be able to route that back in. He's probably just being full completionist on clearing Ice Tea, but he should be able to then hookshot, use the glitch to be able to go get that from the big chest. Right. So Aaron's filling up on regular Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew High Voltage. Oh, he's gonna take a red and heal. Oh, he's going like ham on blowing all of his money.
So Couch doesn't have the big key yet. I'm not entirely sure
That was
where
on
the
the
big
right
key was.
side, so that's gonna be an issue for him.
I'm pretty sure he went. I think he retraced the steps of MrAaronSnerd, like follow me, sweet. Just a few bomb jump misses, but I am pretty sure that he went to that side. Maybe he didn't check the vanilla big key chest because I think that position may have been the actual big key.
Yeah,
That's
we
not
have
very good.
Orange Kupo in chat saying that it was a vanilla big key, and he's
Yeah.
missing that. He's gonna go probably try to kick Cold Stare's butt and realize that he's gonna have a problem on his hand eventually.
This is rough.
Yeah, you
Can
hate to
happen.
see that. I've been if you haven't had this feeling feeling like an absolute moron playing Rando because you forgot one check, you haven't played enough Rando, and it's gonna happen to you eventually.
It's very easy to forget a check. What I found out lately is whenever I have the big key for Eastern Palace, I find it in the big key chest, the vanilla one. Sorry, the big key location. I tend to forget about the big chest. I just rush over to go and fight Armor's Knights, and
Yeah.
I just don't know why, but it's ingrained in my mind to just go over and sort of go mode the dungeon. But it sucks because if there is an item in the big chest, even if it's nothing, you always have that thought in the back of your mind, like, oh god, I could have checked that one. And usually you decide, because we see Couch noping out of Ice Palace after, usually if you didn't find the item, at least what I do is just deciding that that is not the deciding factor. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Beer is saying lamp. Was that on the boss? I kind of missed that.
I didn't see that. Maybe we'll find out soon, because if he... Oh, he's gonna turn in Ooh, Green Pendant. It's another bottle, but it's not what he wants to see right now.
No.
But
Unfortunately, he's got to go back
he's
and
gonna
go
finish
for
up
that
Pod.
queen. Oh, interesting. So he's gonna do Dark Turtles.
Either that, or he did find the lamp on Cold Stare.
Yeah, our trackers updated it, so I believe. Yeah, lamp was on cold according to homemade beer in chat. So thanks. So oh dear. So he's gonna be thinking about, well, that lamp just put me in logic to go. Well, it puts back the pod maze in logic, but now he's gonna go kick Helma's butt and see what that gets him. Oh man.
Yeah, that's too bad. It was such a close race, and for it to probably be decided, nothing's for certain yet, but it looks like this is very much MrAaronSnerd's game to lose right now.
Indeed.
It's too bad to see something like this happen right at the end.
It's been a really fascinating race though, because they had divergence from the get-go. Because Aaron did Uncle while Couch did Sanctuary. We watched them diverge at, I want to say, there was a divergence, I want to say about like the 30-minute mark. I'm trying to remember which, they were in two different dungeons at the same time. I mean, they retraced each other's steps, but for a while, Couch was really doing great. Although Aaron's routing kind of ended up helping him catch up as Couch went back to do things that Aaron already did. Because yeah, I know Couch did a couple of dungeons without the required items too, in Pod and in Eastern.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Couch didn't do early, and what MrAaronSnerd did do very early, was get the bow. In fact, he did not go to the bowlock dungeons after that. He did a whole bunch of other stuff, while Couch without a bow did decide to did Pod and Eastern. But in the end, they were, like we said, I think they were 5 seconds apart when they entered Ice Palace.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, Aaron does a beautiful Dark
yeah,
Mire with ease, getting through. This is going to get him his 7th crystal. This is going to put him in, heading straight to the end of the game. You know, just solid running by Aaron today. You know.
Yeah, it's also there's nothing to take away from what Aaron has done today. Couch being just a bit unlucky right now, but MrAaronSnerd has done a really good job, especially with the routing. And yeah, he is
Silver's
on his way.
Helma. Wow.
Okay.
Okay. What a video game.
We know that MrAaronSnerd is going to do silverless cannon, but at least he has the butter sword.
Yeah, he'll hack his way through the beginning of that fight eventually. And then it'll just be 12 big old spins. Let's see where Couch goes next. He's gonna be struggling.
Because we have found 7 crystals over at MrAaronSnerd's side, I believe it's time to play a little game.
Yes, it is. Get your numbers in the chat now. We don't have the Saha, but to give you real fake internet points, so you'll just have to get fake internet points, and most importantly, street cred. So what number are you feeling?
You know, if I had to guess, I wonder if he does right side first. And I will
say... We'll have to count on Aaron's, whatever Aaron does. I'm feeling saucy. I'm going to do 17.
I was going to say 6. I'm going to say 6.
All right. Well, we will know very shortly as we watch Aaron zoom right to GT.
We have a lot of voters. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yes. All right. You get those numbers in very soon. You have about 5 seconds. All righty. Here we go. Couch Turnit is doing the Smith chain as we speak. So he's thinking maybe this density play is going to be the one. Button mashing street cred, I could never go outside. True. I mean, this was a beautiful day. I'm in Southern California. A very beautiful day for, playing video games inside.
Okay, we are starting the GT play.
Here we go.
Deciding to go to the right side.
1, 2, nothing. Oh, and Aaron is going to go not continue on the right side. He's been mad about that in the past, having that big key not pay out over there. Oh, there it is! 3.
Third check. Let's see.
Did anyone hit the number 3?
No, but we do have GolferBolts, our tracker, guessing 2, which is the closest of all of the checks, I think. Yeah, it is. So no one got it right, but GolferBolts, you get some street cred for at least being the one that's closest to the actual number.
Yeah, you get the super cool sunglasses and everything. Lots of cred. So now we're gonna watch Aaron just smoke these Igors and move on. Now Couch turned in the other tablet to get that in logic Cane of Burna, so that feels bad because he knows then that the fire rod he got has been just put in logic. So it's going to be a question of where he would be thinking about next.
I think he has
forgotten the big key in Ice Palace.
I think he's going to do Hera Basement.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, because that fire rod and that being an item left behind would let you do that. Because he's probably playing it like this is the worst seed ever, so he's thinking that it is going to be Hera Basement after all.
Yeah, and I believe that if, like I said, if you forget about the big key in Ice Palace in this case, you don't want to go back because you feel like, okay, if the item is there, I need to go back to Ice. I'm probably behind, so let's just do other checks. And I understand that kind of reasoning. I understand it very well, but this time it will probably, it will probably come back to haunt him.
Yeah, he's gonna be a little surprised when Aaron duns in about, call it maybe 5 minutes or so. And that feels bad because you're like, what the heck went wrong? That stinks. I've been there.
Yeah.
There was my match one against it was Torn the Dragon in the second round of the temper bracket in my match there. He smoked me because well, in his case, he did a ped check that I did not do. And while I was frantically running around the whole game looking for progression, he was orderly clearing out the game and taking a very easy dub ski against me.
Those things happen. I had a couple of seeds, especially in the bracket stage, where I just forgot about a couple of locations. One of them was I was in Gomora, so I thought I didn't have a hook shot, and
Ooh.
it turned out it was on GT Tall Room, and I had never had any item located on the GT Tall Room in any of the rando seeds so far, so I just forgot about that check. So I was sure I'd find it in GT. I didn't find it at the right side, so I decided to do everything else. But yeah, obviously that didn't pay out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really rough to have the hookshot be in tile room. That would probably be the last place I would ever check. We see
Yeah,
now we see Aaron taking on Trolldorm 2.
clean kill.
Will he be validated? He's a man of culture, gets his map for his final check of the game. We now see Couch remembering that, hey, I do have Misery Mire open. So why don't I try and do that out and see, there's 2 items here. And see if I just have a cane here. So it's a good play, but unfortunately, the answer we already know. As we now watch Aaron go do a good old Aga 2 here, as he's going to do his geometry.
Yeah, Aga2 being a bit trolly here, but this is good. He gets a 2.
To answer Ben, yeah, it was the red cane was in the Ice Palace big chest, and Couch left it behind.
Yeah, he left the big key behind.
He missed the vanilla big key. It's just it's an easy thing to do when you have to do the Ice Palace bomb jump way because you simply are so used to doing Icebreaker, and that's the first chest that you get after doing Icebreaker. So, oopsie whoopsie, you did your play in the room with the 2 big skellies, and then just leave, because that's the order of things when you do it in the Icebreaker way. Now we got Aaron going to kick Ganon's butt, eat some bacon, and finish this seed out.
Yeah, it looks like he's already heading over to phase 3 of the fight.
Very nicely done, just zipping right through. When you have the gold sword too, the amount of hacks that you need at the big piggy is cut in half, so you don't have to really deal with so many fire bats.
Finding out now that Helmasaur had the silver arrows.
Aaron would have no desire to ever go for those, so now we're just going to see a spin 1 of 11, 2 of 11, 12 rather. We didn't quite get the light for the 3, but there's 3.
he did get the torch glitch, so that's good.
Indeed. You basically have to do the torch glitch if you want to do Silverless Ganon. There was one time where I was in a ladder race, and for whatever reason, when I was about to do it, I just spaced out on doing the torch glitch, so I dropped down and had to do it again.
Yeah, that's the feels bad moment.
Yeah,
It's very nice.
it was very absent-minded of me, and I've been prone to absent-mindedness. And get your GGs into chat from MrAaronSnerd. One bridge crossing away from going to the Go Mode Podcast's Gold Bracket Finals. And it is done.
Yes, MrAaronSnerd finished in around 1:30:47, if I recall correctly. A very nice time. And GG's to him.
And it looks like we have a DNF for Couch. So if we can see if we can get them into the interview, if they are up for that. And we are joined by MrAaronSnerd and by Couch23. Good game, folks. What a race.
GG's again.
GG's.
Yeah, GG.
So
talk
very
about
interesting race.
a very interesting race indeed. I was going to say, let's talk about finding the fire rod in Spite Cave. One of you did that in Logic, and one of you did not do it in Logic. How did that make you feel, Couch, for finding that out of Logic?
I didn't realize that was actually out of Logic.
Yeah, well, you didn't have any invincibility items. You brute forced it with the fairy.
Fair enough. All right. I don't know. I found it and I was like, pretty excited that I could go clear out a bunch of stuff.
And Aaron, you got that significantly, well, somewhat later, in Logic after getting the Cane of Burna. So did you feel behind when you eventually got that fire rod?
Yeah, a little bit, but I also had cleared out a lot of the stuff that maybe was going to be checked anyways, and I think I did it efficiently, so I felt like I might have been a little behind at that time, but as soon as I got it, I went, okay, just clear out the crystals you can. It's not a big deal, like just keep kind of flowing with it, and maybe you'll be able to catch up if I did lose time in between that. So yeah, I did feel a little bit behind, but felt comfortable in the catch up on it.
It was also interesting because you found the arrows, bow and arrow, real quick, which was on Stumpy. And then you decided not to go to Pod or Eastern for quite some time. And we also saw Couch, who didn't find the bow until a bit later. And he did dip into Pod and Eastern before heading over to Stumpy. So I'm just wondering, for MrAaronSnerd, what was the thought process of not going to those clearable dungeons right at that time?
It was because I didn't have the flute, because I didn't have any bombs, so I had to be like, okay, if I route it in this way, at least I don't lose a ton of time getting the flute. That honestly was my biggest thing, because when I had 0 bombs, I went, uh-oh. How am I going to route in this flute with something now that I have the mirror? So the idea was to kind of go down into Hype Cave, then to Stumpy, and then do Cave 45 into Dig Game, and then grab the flute at Race Game. And that was just the way it made sense so that I could activate it and then do whatever after that.
It was really like a butterfly effect from there, just by not having enough bombs at like the start of the whole game.
Oh. You ever see if you feel panicked in that moment? That was me. I was like, okay, I gotta relax a little bit. I got no bombs. Figure it out. Like, figure the fastest way to get it.
Yeah, you were doing a little bit of farming too. So both of you had a little bit of rust with the Ice Palace bomb jump. Gonna get back into the practice speed and remember how to do that?
Yeah, definitely.
I know it's been kind of depreciated since the advent of Icebreaker, but yeah, that was interesting. So I'm just trying to think what else was on your mind as you were playing in that seed.
I don't know. I was really kind of like, well, I hope I don't overlook any chests again. And well, that happened. So
I think when I found Kane, honestly, I think I made a mistake by going to the mountain first. I think I was just playing to the density, but the reality was I probably should have gone ice into the mountain. If I wasn't there, I knew it was there, but I also felt behind, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a risk that it's on the mountain, because if I'm right, at least I caught up. If I'm not, then at that point it's like, okay, well, eventually if it's, I'm thinking that play will get made, so that's maybe what it was. But I mean, once you get Kane, it's like, I'll forget it. I'm not going all the way to Gold Stair. See ya.
If you had gone to Cold Stair, you would have gotten your lamp.
I heard. I was just like, I'll forget. I'm just gonna do Darkmire and deal with it.
And then the funny thing was also the silver arrows were on Helma, so you would have to clear both, both pendant dungeons to get the loot.
Gotta love a locked bow, right?
Yeah, I think the funniest one I ever saw was when Vidi had a bow. So,
I've gotten that
bow,
before,
but to
too.
protect itself, it's from getting two-shot by the silver arrows, it held the bow.
Yeah, other than what we saw at the end, obviously after MrAaronSnerd, you found the cane, and Couch missed one of the chests which had the big key. The race was pretty much over, but before that, it was a really, really interesting race to watch, because we saw both runners do completely different dungeons every time, and I think you had 2 or 3 occasions where you both got a crystal, but it was always in a different dungeon, but you got them at the same time. And then right at the end, because, for instance, I think Couch had a couple of checks, I forgot where, I think with the mushroom and catfish, and MrAaronSnerd had already done that, so I thought, okay, maybe he's ahead. But then MrAaronSnerd did Meyer Shed checks, and that was a check that Couch already did. And in the end, I think 5 seconds separated you when you both decided to go to Ice Palace, because you both also decided to go to Dark Death Mountain before heading over to Ice. It was really entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
I
everything
knew it was gonna be
converged.
close.
Oh, sorry, Aaron, go on.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say I knew it was gonna be close, so I was kind of just, yeah. I think I was worried when I got Kane. I'll put it that way. And that's where you start thinking, okay, I gotta hustle, go.
Yeah, remember your Darkmire. It was really interesting seeing you both converge basically almost on the same screen at like the hour 16-minute mark. And that's how all that divergence from the beginning onwards, from the word go all the way till an hour and 16, it all just kind of converged as one right there. And it was super close.
That's always good to hear.
You love to see a close race. Unlike yesterday.
Yesterday was fascinating. I mean,
don't talk about yesterday.
A laugh at your expense. But it was a little laugh at your both expenses yesterday. But it was pretty high comedy. But eventually, an exercise in showing off mental fortitude and toughness to keep calm in a race. You have an execution race, and you have, keeping yourself composed during a clown show. Then we had today, which was just seeing how divergences might pay off or not pay out. And maybe it doesn't even matter in the end anyway, when you all converge at the same time anyway. But I think we're getting played out. We had our screen transition, so why don't we wrap up here? Give our runners a follow, and then thank you, Vex, for dropping our runners, and our crew for KapiteinKOEK, myself at joshbittner, our tracker at GolferBolts, and our fantastic restreamer, vextopher. Give the podcast a follow, too. You can find the podcast on, via your favorite podcast platform. Mine is just Apple Podcasts, or whatever you use. It's a great resource. Join the Discord, by the way. It's a great community. You'll learn a lot. Everyone's very friendly. You can pretty much almost at any time jump into a voice channel and just say, hey, I want to learn to do something in the game, and probably someone will be around and be interested in helping you out. So definitely drop in. A lot of our mentors and mentees have helped each other out over the course of the tournament, and that doesn't have to stop. You know, at the end of this tournament, that can be any time.
Absolutely. Let me just say again, GG's to my opponent, Couch. Fantastic opponent. We met in Swiss. Now we meet in brackets, and congratulations for making the semifinals again. This is a great finish to it.
Definitely GG's to you as well. It's a fantastic way to end out the series. So good luck in the finals.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, I also want to say thank you for everyone, for the runners. Congratulations to MrAaronSnerd heading over to the finals of the gold bracket. He will be facing off against, I believe, either Pastorami or TJ Joel. They are still playing each other. Yeah, thanks for the team. Thank you for everyone who watched the stream as well. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we had a good time commentating, tracking, restreaming, and like Josh already said, give everyone a follow, and I guess we will see you at the next stream. Thank you very much.
All right, take it easy, y'all.